It must be Wednesday. I'm Mayor Mike, and I'm here to answer your questions. And those are the questions you sent in. We have 8 this week, and that's part of the Ask the Mayor, where residents take questions, write them down, email them to us, and then the following Wednesday, I put this video together, find out the answers, and ultimately give those answers back to the community. So again, happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well. We're starting to get into fall. And remember, leaf collection. That's starting on Monday, October 31st. I know a lot of people feel it's starting too early, but it's a simple math equation. It takes us 6 weeks, no matter where we start or when we start, and we are racing Mother Nature. We want to make sure the leaves are picked up substantially before the snow flies. So again, put your leaves out, and we're starting on Pitkin. We're going around the town clockwise. We'll be heading into the Goodwin area, and watch those signs on the tree belts. We get into an area first, we put the signs on that we're coming in the next week, and we ask that you put your leaves out. In the event you want to look at the interactive map on the Public Works website, that's an indication of where we'll loosely be, but it's all weather dependent. So again, a big topic this week: get your leaves out and help the town, help the community pick up. That being said, we have 8 questions, as I mentioned. Question number 149, and that's 149 since we started this back about 9 months ago, comes from David. What is the police department doing to help lower the serious crimes taking place in town? Do they proactively patrol anymore? And statistically, I think everyone knows, I used to be the former finance director for about 23 years. East Hartford employs 124 sworn police officers, and that's across all divisions. That's patrol, that's detectives, that's investigators, that's some that do the fingerprinting and the property management and so forth. That being said, that's a $20 million number annually when you include benefits in the cost to run the department. So that being said, all those 124 officers are in town, keeping you safe on a 24/7, 365 basis. Unfortunately, crime really does not advertise itself before it happens, and unfortunately, crime is a very dangerous business. We unfortunately had the funeral for the 2 fallen Bristol police officers last Friday, and it's a reminder that our officers, when their feet hit the ground in the morning and they leave their loved ones, they come to a community and they protect us. So that requires quite a special individual. So if you see an officer out there, give them a wave, tell them thank you. But back to David's question, there's a number of things that our officers do. First off, they meet regularly with the community. That could be in church groups, that could be with coffee with a cop, that could be haircut with a cop. They're in our school system. They regularly act or interface with our school children regularly. They investigate crimes, and as I said, if we knew where crime would be before crime happened, we would be much, much better off, but we don't. It's a reactive function, which is why they have to investigate. We will set up block watches. If someone in the community reaches out to us, we will proactively go out and help them. As I mentioned, we're involved at the schools, and we have about a dozen cameras throughout town that help us track and solve crime. More importantly, our crime statistics are displayed on our website. You can go to the police department website, and under crime statistics, you can see something that looks like this, and it's what they call Part 1 crimes, which are the more serious. And even on the front page of the website, they have what they call NIBRS, Part 1 crimes, and NIBRS stands for National Incident-Based Reporting System. And to give you an idea, crime from last week in the town of East Hartford, from October 17th to October 23rd, there were no murders, fortunately. There was, unfortunately, 1 sexual assault, 1 robbery, 1 aggravated assault. And generally speaking, these are among people who know their victims, unfortunately. There were no burglaries, but there were 21 larcenies. And that could be shoplifting, that could be somebody's purse being taken, whatever the case may be. 3 motor vehicle thefts, no arsons, and the total offense count that our police department's tracking down is 27. So again, we do a number of things. We do a number of things proactively, but unfortunately, crime is reactive, unfortunately not proactive. Personally, I've lived in town about 34 years. I believe our community is extremely safe. I believe the men and women of the East Hartford Police Department keep us that way. And where there's extra attention needed, they give it to us. There'll be a new crime, we'll call it policing strategy, unveiled in the next couple to 3 months, hopefully by the end of the year. Chief Sanson, I don't want to steal much of his thunder, but he's moving toward a district policing model. There'll be 7 districts in town. Each one will be housed by a lieutenant, and that lieutenant will be free to take unique crime fighting practices, proactive and reactive. And what's working in one particular district will actually import to the other districts. So again, kind of on the cutting edge. We'll be moving toward that by the end of the year, and I'll let Chief Sansom do that at a future date and time. So David, hopefully that answered your question. Submission number 150 comes from Cindy, and she said, what are the plans, if any, for the former Stop and Shop Plaza and store? And Cindy, that's a complicated question. In as much as I'd like to think that the mayor's office can make the market and demand that they do something, what I found with Stop and Shop leaving is that we do not have a lot of power or control over private development. Charter Oak Mall, which is the facility you're talking about, exists in between the old Showcase site where Concourse Park apartments are going up, 470 market rate apartments, and the blighted Silver Lane Plaza, which, by the way, on Thursday, October 27th at 6:30, there's a public hearing on that. So for residents who are concerned about the blight there, I respectfully ask that you turn out and speak in favor of the town moving forward on the acquisition of Silver Lane Plaza. But that being said, back to Charter Oak Mall. Stop and Shop moved out. They had a very low rent, but unfortunately did not do the amount of revenue that they needed to make this a going concern or a place where they wanted to invest their money. That being said, they left us. They were doing about $26 million a year here in East Hartford, compared to about $75 million in the surrounding town of Glastonbury. So again, it gets to be a simple equation in capitalism. Where can you invest your market money or your capital to produce the highest amount of return? And unfortunately, that was not at the Stop and Shop at Charter Oak Mall. That being said, Charter Oak Mall is owned by an out-of-state real estate holder. So while I continually call them, and they have told me on 2 different occasions that they were circling around a regional grocery store from New York and a flooring store, which they had direct control over, neither of those things have happened. In places like Kay's Liquors, a wonderful, wonderful family-owned business that go out of your way and take the opportunity to patronize Kay's. Kay's is hurting because Stop and Shop left. And Stop and Shop left, as I said, is simply a market decision. They had low rents, and the new owners of the mall, who are out-of-state New York real estate holders, raised the rent, which is one of the reasons we lost Stop and Shop, in addition to not being able to do the revenue that they expected. So I am concerned, Cindy, like you. I do not hold a lot of cards, and I'm a little reluctant to incentivize another grocery store there. I mean, people call me almost daily and ask for Big Y, but Big Y would be here if the market was conducive to them. So that being said, I'm concerned. I'll continue to watch it. I'll continue to call the owners, and I'll continue to plead for something there. But at the end of the day, it's private development, and I have limited control over what can go there. So that was submission 150 from Cindy. Submission 151 comes from Julia, and she says her parents are buried at the Silver Lane Cemetery. She had spoken to the cemetery person, and there were chunks missing from the stones. And Julia, that's unfortunate for me to read and hear. It's also very concerning to me. The employee told me that they didn't have the appropriate lawnmower. I still notice new damage to the stones. Are we still mowing with the wrong mower? Also, except for mowing, no other maintenance is done. She visited her parents' grave at least once a week to check things out. Can something be done to rectify the lack of maintenance? She herself has planted new grass on her parents' grave because it was all weeds. Can something be done to fix the situation? And also the veteran section. So one, apologies. This is not a letter I am happy reading, and it's not a letter that's taken lightly. I will be meeting with Public Works shortly thereafter to reaffirm that our cemeteries are one of the most important places for the memories of our citizens, and they need to be taken care of appropriately. That being said, we proactively need to do more. There's no question about that. And I would gently suggest that I think the employee who told you it wasn't the right mower, I candidly believe we had the wrong operator. A piece of equipment should only be brought close to the stone, and then hand trimming should happen after that. So to me, to blame the piece of equipment is a bit of a cop-out. It was really the operator who got too close to the stone and did the damage. So I will take that up with Public Works, and I hope to be able to demonstrate that we have a larger commitment than you've seen heretofore with cemeteries. Submission 152 comes from Jared. He is a chainsaw carver, and in short, he's seen many articles and stories about the murals that we're doing in East Hartford. $175,000 worth related to American Rescue Plan Act money. And one, that number may catch some people by surprise. I can assure you it is not just murals, it's on artwork. And the reason we're concentrating on artwork is there was a sense that our local artists were forgotten. Some of them did not get PPP loans. Many of them did not get unemployment compensation. So this particular investment in COVID-19 relief for truly the starving local artist is meant to produce something beneficial for the community. That could be in the form of paintings, that could be in the form of murals, that could be in the form of sculptures, and in this particular case, Jared does chainsaw carving. So I'll reach out to Jared, and if he wants to make a proposal, you may indeed see some type of neat chainsaw carving in the future. He seems to only work on damaged or trees coming down. I'm not sure we have such a thing, but in any case, I'll reach out to Jared, since I also think that would be a neat inventory compared to the other artwork that we're doing. But rest assured, it's not just murals. It's investments in sculptures, it's investments in paintings. Some of those will go to the senior center, some will go to the library, some will be displayed here in Town Hall. But it's really to benefit a untouched group, starving local artists who were hit particularly hard by COVID. Submission number 153 comes from Esther. And Esther's question is, as you may remember, last Thursday we had a really bad rainy weather. Many of us did not put our Blue Barrel out for pickup. Blue Barrel's recycling. As a result, we now have 3 weeks worth of recycling in that barrel. Any chance we can get an extra pickup to get us emptied and back on track? Probably not, but I thought I would ask. So Esther, I don't know. So let's say, because I'm usually open to anything, let's say I was open to an extra pickup. Number one, there would be a cost to that. And number two, by the time it was scheduled, your next pickup would probably be in the queue. Unfortunately, All American Waste, or even the town of East Hartford, does not have extra vehicles or manpower to go out. But let's, for a moment, say we did. So number one, we have some logistics issues. But number two, let's say we didn't have logistics issues. What we found out last week, and this was when the Indigenous People Day, formerly known as Columbus Day, was a holiday that the New Waste Company did not celebrate. Many people were caught flat-footed. Even though we had a dozen ways to communicate to people, from the East Hartford Gazette, which is free, to social media, to putting it in the Journal Enquirer, the Hartford Current, on public access at town council meetings, and so on and so forth. The bottom line is, what we know is on any given day we fail to get to about 40 to 50% of the people. So even if we didn't have logistic problems and I put the information out tomorrow, it would not reach half the people. So therefore, I feel any money we spent for the extra collection would not be well spent. So that's a gigantic apology, Esther. I think you understand where I'm coming from. But what I can tell you, and I'm certainly willing to help, transfer station is open. Check the website to see which days. And I know it's a pain in the neck, but if you put a bag full of recyclables, that perhaps will just ease it enough for you to make the regular collection. So again, we're learning about communication. 2, we're learning about logistics. And then 3, I am all ears in the event that we can somehow increase customer service. This doesn't seem like a way we can reasonably do it. So my apologies for that. Item 154 comes from Tim. He just came from the punk rock flea market in Southington, Connecticut at the Southington Drive-In, and the place was awesome. They had vendors, food, and live music. Unfortunately, they got shut down early because there were too many people that showed up and then the rain descended upon them. They need a bigger place with more parking. Are there any vacant lots owned by the town that can be used for a flea market? It could help bring business to East Hartford and boost the local businesses. And Tim, first off, I think it's a great idea. Recognize that Southington Drive-In is a private site, and therein lies some of the concern. East Hartford, in the past, when we've had a community event, if you can recall, we had both the Podunk Music Festival, which was a 3-day festival, and then we had the Halloween Haunted House. That was for a number of years. All of those raised liability concerns for the community and also concerns from the abutting residents. So I'm not saying no, I'm saying we, like other communities, should have our own festival. That could be a community event, like the Strawberry Festival that South Windsor has, or the Peach Festival, or the Apple Harvest Festival that both Glastonbury and Southington celebrates. But we need something. So conceptually, I agree with Tim, but it requires a lot of planning, it requires cost, and it requires the town to really want to endure some liability as opposed to a private site. So Tim, if you want to reach out to me for 2023 and we think of something cool for the community, I'm all for it. But at the moment, as we enter late October, almost into November, I think weather permitting, a flea market in 2022 is not in the cards. But again, I'm not opposed to it. I just have to figure out how we do it. The next question comes from Susan. Question number 155. East Hartford has been noted among the 10 most dangerous cities in Connecticut for 2022. And Susan, you and I are going to disagree on this one. Earlier in this broadcast, I announced the crimes that we had. And sure, compared to Wethersfield or Glastonbury or South Windsor, that might be true because we are a ring community to Hartford. And we have, candidly, addiction issues. We have, candidly, larceny related to that. So some of the things that really are inconsequential, and I'm not underestimating crime at all, really put those statistics together. But to say East Hartford is the 10 most dangerous city in Connecticut for 2022, in my mind, is an overreach. You and I can agree to disagree. But Susan's question says, is it possible to duplicate something similar to what is produced by the town of Glastonbury, where they publish their daily arrest log? And I would note that really no other community than Glastonbury, West Hartford does not, Hartford does not, East Hartford does not, South Windsor does not. But East Hartford's going to move in that direction, Mrs. Neep. You asked for it, we're going to give it to you. Once a week, we will PDF the daily arrest log from the East Hartford Police Department. That's currently available to you in a 3-prong binder. This will allow you to view it from the comfort of your own home, and we will post that. I'm not exactly sure the day we'll post it, but we will post it a week after they happen. So all this information that goes to the crime statistics that go on our website, we make about 4 arrests a day, and those will be available for you to view in terms of who the culprits are, the perpetrators, and what their address is. That being said, I'm happy that we were able to be a little bit more transparent with our arrest data. And the last question is number 156. It comes from Sherry. There is no heat in the building at Church Corners Inn, and the temperatures were dropping. So Bruce Cohen from our Inspections and Permits Department handled that last week. I'm hopeful, Sherry, that you are back in heat and things are more comfortable there. The town continues to work toward purchasing that, and we will soon be visiting each of the tenants for a relocation plan. That being said, if it's Wednesday, I'm Mayor Mike. I'm broadcasting from 740 Main Street. I hope the rest of your week is as good as the beginning of your week. Ask the mayor questions, keep them coming, and I'll be back in front of you this time next week answering the new questions. Take care.